You're listening to the 100 Awesome People podcast. I'm Justina LeeStolz. Today, we are talking with Christy from Scotiabank about women in business and the capital, education, and mentorship required to accelerate those women's success. Enjoy. Today on the show, we have Christy St Jean. I got that right?
You did.
Yes. Okay. So Christy, tell me a bit, we'll get into why you're here today, but tell me a bit first about you, where you're from, where you grew up, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you. So from Vancouver Island,
Cool.
Comox Valley area, but I've lived here since 2007. So this has been my home and my community for many years now.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love being from the Okanagan.
Yeah.
Love all that there is to offer here in terms of just activity and people and community and so much to do here. So super thankful.
Yeah, definitely. And you have a fun childhood. So tell us a little bit about how you grew up.
Sure. Are you talking about Horsefly or are you talking about Vancouver Island?
Both.
Okay. So there's a Horsefly story, but which I'm sure based on the name anyone would be interested in. But I have had a lovely childhood, just very diverse in terms of what one can do on the island and what trouble you can get into. So a lot of ocean exposure, a lot of fishing, a lot of skiing on Mount Washington, just a ton of outdoor activity, lots of traveling. I did an exchange program to Japan. Cool. I've traveled all over Europe, all as a younger adult. So just a very diverse background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Now tell us about Horsefly.
Okay. Well, usually people think I'm from Horsefly. That's where my parents live now, but the name always intrigues people. But my parents have a hobby farm there, so I get to get in dirty and do things like I help them with their small harvest, with the chicken whacking. With the chicken whacking, yes, I'm a certified chicken whacker, and just everything that they grow and do there. It's off the grid. It's amazing. A town of probably, I don't know, maybe 500-ish.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing community. If anybody knows around the Williams Lake area, it's in that area. So,
very cool. And you grew up in a quite religious family. So you had like I don't want to say sheltered, but like you didn't get to have all the random corporate America Western experiences that some of us had growing up.
Yes. So born and raised a Jehovah's Witness.
Yes.
And which is definitely an interesting perspective from a child to go through that. No holidays, very little exposure to mainstream media, not a lot of association with kids outside of the organization. Yeah. So a very, very strict religion to be raised in. Yeah. I definitely am full of gratitude for that experience because it's made me an empathetic human being. Yeah. But I did leave that religion when I was 12. So my first birthday was my 12th birthday. My first Christmas was when I was 12. Yeah. Which is a very magical experience. I love Christmas now. I love Christmas. I have a lot of holiday decorations. But very thankful. I do have a number of family that's still in the organization, and I love them very much and respect their viewpoints. Mm-hmm. But I knew early on that it wasn't for me. Yeah. So I definitely grateful for the experience and grateful to be who I am now.
Yeah. What made you at 12 like firmly say, okay, that's it, I want a birthday and I want Christmas?
You know, it had absolutely nothing to do with the holidays, which is funny because but I've never known a holiday, so I didn't know what a holiday was. If you've never had Christmas, you don't know how to miss it, right? You've never experienced it. Yeah. So it wasn't about Christmas. It was more about the world was so big and beautiful, and that mindset was fairly narrow. Mm-hmm. And anyone that knows me knows that I'm a big person, and I love the world, and I love everything that the world has in it, and I can't be bottled into one way of thinking. There's too much going on. There's too much to know and experience and love, and I just wanted it all. So I knew early that this was not fitting for me. And I was just fortunate that some of my family were feeling the same, and I was able to leave with the support of certain people. So
very cool. Very neat. And what brought you eventually to Kelowna?
So the island is an amazing place, but there's not a ton of job selection or opportunity as a young person coming out of high school. So I used to come to the Okanagan every summer to see my Oma. She lived in Penticton, and I thought, you know, even as a child, I thought, gee, I'd love to live here one day. Yeah. And so just out of high school, I thought, you know what, now is the time. I've got nothing to lose. Yep. Let's do it. So I packed up and moved what little I had to the Okanagan, and never looked back.
Cool.
Never looked back. Cool. So, and the Okanagan's been very good to me.
Yes.
A lot of opportunity for me here, a lot of different jobs that I've held over the years, and I'm very thankful for that choice.
Very cool. Very cool. And what's brought you here today is through your role at Scotia, you have been doing some really cool work around women and empowerment. So tell us more about that and how that started.
I am so thankful to work for an organization that has placed so much emphasis on the role of women in our economy. So Scotiabank, of which I'm a small business accounts manager there, they have started this women's initiative, and it's actually been ongoing for a number of years, but it's really gained traction over the past recent years because there's been such a spotlight from the rest of the world because of organizations like Scotiabank helping grow that. So this spotlight on women has created this program that we call the Women's Initiative. And there's 3 foundations to it. So there's access to capital, education, and mentorship. So our access to capital is our commitment at Scotiabank to put all adjudication officers or people that approve and decline applications through unconscious bias training.
Cool.
So what that is erasing the unconscious bias that are built within us, and started at a very early age. We don't, obviously they're unconscious based on the name, so we don't know they're there. So it's about recognition and then working past them. The education piece is our boot camp series, of which you were a part of our last one. So exciting. So that's getting women leaders in the community to get together and inspire others, share their story, share what's working, how they balance life, what their obstacles were or are, and how they're overcoming them. And then the third is our mentorship programs. That's having senior leadership at Scotiabank, touching base with women leader and entrepreneurs on the ground in all of our communities, and just helping them work through barriers and obstacles in order to reach their full potential that they can. Yeah,
that's very cool. So I imagine the training that your organization has to go through, like unconscious bias training, people have to obviously be in a mindset or position where they're open to that already. So that I feel like that's a step up or a level up already within the corporate banking world to have employees that are like, okay, I recognize that I have things that I don't know about, and I'm willing to be trained on them.
It is, and that's really, I'm glad you pointed that out, because that is really built into our culture, having an open mind and collaboration. There was an interesting statistic I heard on 1150 AM radio, actually just this morning, and I love 1150. But they said that unconscious bias between genders starts immediately on exit of university. So what that tells me, Justina, is that it is not just because women might have to exit the workforce to have babies or raise a family. It is stemmed within our society at a young age. And that is unacceptable by today's standards. Like we need to recognize it and move past it. And you know, the amount of focus that we've been able to put on it at Scotiabank and through other organizations like Kelowna Women in Business, Women's Enterprise Center, amazing partnerships in the community that they're shining a spotlight on women and all we have to contribute.
Well, and I would unscientifically argue that gender bias and unconscious bias happens much, much earlier. Like we're talking preschool age stuff, right? You know, it all stems down to even the toys that we're allowed to play with or told we should play with, right? So depending on where you're raised and how, that can be a very, very early start to unconscious bias, for sure.
I agree with you, yeah. If you're a girl, you play with Barbies. If you're a boy, you play with trucks, right?
Yeah.
And that's sort of the way of it. And I think since university is just when they are able to gather enough evidence to measure it. So, but you are definitely right. It starts at an early age.
Yeah. And so with the education portion of that, how many series or workshops have there been so far, and what's coming in the future of that?
Yeah, great question. So I ran my last workshop, I believe it was November, and we had so much success with that we're trying to work one out for the spring. But each region is doing their own program based on who's involved, what their community looks like. Their boot camps could be different. I know for my next one, I want to do one that's more possibly interactive. So instead of just meeting in a space, although we had that lovely space at the Barnell Brewery there. A great space. I want to do something that's maybe out in the nature, or something where we can really get to know each other and get deep. So each boot camp is specific to the needs of the community of which it serves, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And how do you find the women that are presenting or being the panel or the sort of experts for the educational aspect of it?
It's funny. At first, they're a little shocked to be approached, shy. They don't think their story is worth sharing. As women, we naturally undervalue what we contribute. We don't see what we've gone through as obstacles, or that it's been amazing that we've done what we've done. So for the most part, they've been very flattered. Shy at first, and then eager to share, eager to be heard, eager to, and it's not about them, but eager to inspire and help enrich those around them. And we are so fortunate in Okanagan, and I'm sure many communities are like this, but I believe that we have a unique community here where women work to boost other women.
Totally.
Yeah. And it's because of people like you, Justina. You are a key player in boosting the people around you. That's what this 100 Awesome People is. That's what you do, and it's incredible to be associated with people like you, and there's so many others.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think people in general, for the most part, I think undervalue their own knowledge and expertise, and especially I think at certain ages in your life, you think, oh, I'm not an expert on that because I haven't lived all of it, but everyone has expertise in their life and their experiences. So to be able to share that with a room and to see the heads nodding going yes is such a great way to validate that the experience you've gone through is unique to you, but it's not unique to the world. Exactly. Other people have been through it, are going through it, or will go through it, and they will learn from what you say.
Absolutely. And it's a new perspective. That one thing that you've gone to where just one person in that room thinks they're alone, and then they hear you and they think, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. Yeah. And I can do this. And there is a support network here. That is the difference sometimes between someone succeeding in their role or their goals or their dreams and not. Yeah. And that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Very cool. And then so the last element you talked about, sort of outreaching towards the community to find out what their needs are and to help that way. How does that work? Is it for all businesses or only businesses of Scotia, or who do you guys approach?
Yeah. So first of all, we want to do business with everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. That is, we want to be the #1 business bank in Canada, but this initiative is focused on women-owned businesses or businesses with women in leadership roles. Right. And you do not need to be a Scotiabank client. This is for the betterment of the community. I mean, Scotiabank recognizes that when the community is doing well, we all do better. All of us. Banks do better. People do better. The housing market does better. Everything does better. So why wouldn't we want to contribute to that? Yeah. But in answer to your question, you don't need to be a Scotiabank client. You just need to reach out to me, and then I get you hooked into the program. Yeah. And then going forward, you'd be notified of mentorship availability, boot camps that are upcoming. Cool. It's not time like there's no burden of time. It's not a huge commitment.
Yeah.
Really, it's just about sparking that conversation within the communities of which we're involved.
Yeah.
To further shine that spotlight.
Yeah. Well, and who wouldn't want that, right? I mean, if you're looking to grow your business, you have to make an investment of some kind, whether it's money or a little bit of time or a conversation. You have to make that investment in order to grow. So
absolutely. And you know, some interesting stats, women-owned businesses represent about $117 billion in our Canadian economy.
Wow. And
they employ about 1.5 million Canadians.
Yay.
So yeah, I mean, that you're part of that, right?
Yeah.
And that's an amazing thing. Male-led businesses, you want to be a part of that too. You want to have women. Businesses are more successful when they are diverse in nature in terms of gender and culture.
Yeah.
So get on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Like, this is successful.
Diversify. Yeah, for sure. And so in your lifetime, you've gone through a lot of things. Like you've gone through a unique childhood, not only on the island, but also in the religious upbringing. You've moved around, you've traveled a lot. What do you see when you look back? And hindsight is always 2020. Right. When you look back, is there a moment where you can see an experience that was a life lesson? We were like, looking back now, I see what I should have learned then.
Yeah, I mean, isn't life full of that? And don't I have maybe one of those on a weekly basis?
Yeah, totally.
But, you know, I think, it's funny, I was having this conversation with someone the other day saying, we were asking sort of deep probing questions. They were saying, what do you regret the most in life? And I thought about it for a moment. And, you know, I thought, I don't actually believe in regrets too much, because I think that everything that I've gone through, and you're right, there's been some lumps and some bumps and some experiences, but everything that I've gone through has contributed to who I am today. And I'm proud when I think about myself and who I am and what I can contribute. I'm proud of what I see. You know, so I don't have any regrets. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some things that I would do differently. I'd go back to, you know, high school and tell myself not to care so much. You know, or, you know, maybe strive more to finish that course or to, you know, whatever that may be. But in terms of the obstacles that I've been through and experiences I've had, I'm so thankful for them, you know, and I would urge everybody to view your lumps and bumps the same. Yeah. Because we wouldn't be who we are today without the things that we've experienced.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah. In any of those lumps and bumps, is there an embarrassing or funny or frustrating moment that taught you something?
I've had some great moments at Scotiabank where I've spoken out with my passion and been possibly a little bit too passionate. Anyone who knows me knows that I can be a little bit too passionate. So I've had some great experiences at Toastmasters, so where I've maybe been a little bit too drinking of the juice, as they say. Yeah. But gosh, I'm trying to think of something specific. I mean, there's so many funny moments that I experience on a daily basis. I'll have to think of something that maybe comes to me.
Sure.
Yeah, that's hard. There's just so many.
If you could go back to a younger version of yourself and give yourself a piece of advice. You kind of mentioned the high school one about not caring so much, but is that the overall life advice that you would give to yourself early on? Or is there something else that you would say, if I could have told childhood me this, or teenage me this, or young adult me this, what would you wish somebody else had told you, or you wish you could tell yourself?
Yeah. So I did touch on that, and that is a major life lesson for me, is to not care so much about what people think. And I think, you know, everybody struggles with this to one degree or another. Yeah. But part of being raised in such a religious background is that you do feel like you're a bit of a fish in your own bowl, where everyone's staring at you all the time through school, which is very challenging. So I learned very early on to really take to heart what people thought. And now that I'm later in life, we won't say how much later, but now that I'm later in life, one of the beautiful things is that I stopped caring.
Yeah.
And isn't life more fun when you're just authentically yourself?
Yeah.
You know, and every day I know who I am, I know what my brand is, and if people want to be a part of that, then I welcome those people with an open heart and open arms. But if they don't, then that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with them and there's nothing wrong with me. And that's the key thing to recognize, is that you don't need everybody to jump on your train.
Yeah.
You know, and
because they won't.
They won't. And you don't need to jump on everyone else's.
Yeah.
You can know who you are and know who you align with.
Yeah.
And have a much more fun time on a daily basis because of it.
Yeah.
So there's 3 rules that I live by, and this is actually from a YouTube video that's called Lead Like an Addict. If anyone has time to watch it, it's 20 minutes, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But this gentleman who had a drug addiction, he went through obviously recovery program, and he lives by 3 rules. And I've adopted these. They're actually on my desk at work, and every day I look at them, and every day, every decision I make, I try to say, okay, does this fit into these 3 rules? And that is, be authentic, do what's uncomfortable, and surrender the outcome.
Okay.
So if you're living authentically every day, if you know who you are and you live it, then that's you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Sometimes that requires doing what's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, making those hard phone calls, making those hard decisions, putting yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Do what's uncomfortable as long as it's authentically you. And then sit back and surrender that outcome, because you can't control the outcome. You can control the first 2. You know, you can decide who you are. You can decide how you want to show up every day. You could decide to step out of your comfort zone and do what's uncomfortable and do what others won't.
Yeah.
But then you need to sit back and say, okay, I've done that.
Yeah.
Now I need to surrender the outcome.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah, that would be challenging for sure, because there are a lot of people, myself included, who have a tendency to want to control everything that's happening, and it's a huge ongoing learning, I think, for everyone. I mean, if somebody has mastered this to the nth degree, call me. I need to know.
Me too.
How you did it. Yeah.
That's why they're literally on my desk, because I have to see them every day to remember it, because it's not natural. We want to control the outcome. We want to, but you can't. And then when you stop doing it, or when you work towards it, you create capacity in your world for other beautiful things.
Yeah, totally. For other opportunities and other doors to open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very neat. And so what's on the future horizon? You talked about the next series that you want to do for the education aspect. So what's on the horizon for the other 2 aspects of the program, and even on your personal goals? What are you working towards?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with the work one first. So work-wise, we're just looking to expand the conversation in the Okanagan and across Canada, of course, but my focus is the Okanagan, so I'm the representative for the region. So just creating that conversation between women about the obstacles that are before us and how to overcome them, and why it's important that we do so, and important for everyone, for the economy in general. My next boot camp, as I said, will be in the spring, so really looking forward to that. We're just starting our planning sessions for that now. As you know, it takes a long time to plan these things and put them together. Yeah. So I hope you'll be a part of the next one as well. And then, of course, with my career just continuing to grow in an organization that I love. Scotiabank has been very good to me. Yeah. And I love the culture there. I've worked for a number of places now, and I've definitely found my family, my home there, my tribe. Yeah. So just further expanding that and getting to work with entrepreneurs in the area has been just so much fun. Yeah. I get to work with some really neat businesses and some really passionate people, and that is right in line with who I am. So it's wonderful doing what I do on a daily basis. I'm very full of gratitude. And then personally, you know, the world is an adventure every day. So I have a lot of fitness goals. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm at the gym most mornings, sometimes twice a day. I do a lot of yoga. Diet's been a huge focus lately, so you know, trying out the vegan thing, which has been fun, and I feel amazing every day because of it. So just focusing on that inner growth, and just personal education. Yeah, you're a big traveler too. Any big travel plans? Yes, I don't have any on the immediate horizon. I just got back from Mexico a little while ago. Probably the next one I'd love to do is I'd love to go backpacking again somewhere. Just, just really...
Unique experiences.
Oh, yeah. Just get into the nitty-gritty of a culture. Maybe go back to Asia somewhere. I'd love to go back to Japan.
Yeah.
So the list of places I want to go is long.
Endless.
Endless. I have a US account and a Euro account. I keep feeding them both, and we'll see what place wins where I go next. So,
very fun. Very fun. With the education series, are you looking for any particular types of industries to be represented, or are there people that you want to connect with that might be listening that could reach out?
Yeah, thank you for that, because I asked everybody that attended my last boot camp what they wanted to see. And the response was interestingly consistent. People want to talk about not only just women in the workplace, but minorities in women in the workplace.
Yeah. Okay.
So my next boot camp is going to be focused on women minorities.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm really kind of
filtering it down.
Yes, I'm getting down deeper and deeper into the core issues, and that's the point of this initiative, is to start here with a conversation, but narrow it down and really dig into what's on our mind. What do we want to talk about? So that is the next panel, the next series of speakers that I want is going to be minority women in the workplace and what their experience is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one for sure. Definitely keep me posted.
It's a whole new level of unconscious bias. So I'm really eager to get into that.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see a room full of women who often can band together on the premise of being women in the workplace or being women entrepreneurs, but then having to recognize that although they may be banded together under that umbrella, they may have unconscious biases that create divides within that umbrella.
Yeah, it's so true. And we can't blame ourselves. We can't sit here and play the blame game. The biases are built into our society.
Yep.
All we can do is change that today.
Yeah.
We can change it going forward. We can start to recognize thoughts that we're having, feelings that we're having, analyzing that. And I invite all of your listeners and viewers to start today. Yeah. Don't just think about it and say, oh, that's nice. Yeah. And move on. Yeah. Really stop and pay attention to your feelings and thoughts, and infect the others around you in a positive way, and invite others to have the same process, and start the conversation, and teach your children and your children's friends, and just create that butterfly effect.
Yeah, it starts young. It's got to start in the youth, because we were all youth that resulted in this, right? Yeah. So the change starts, now with us, but so much so in the education system.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very neat. I'm so excited about all of this. What is a weird or fun fact about you that nobody would know? I've already uncovered like a whole bunch of random facts that people probably wouldn't have known, but is there one that you can think of that is super random?
I am a serial course taker. So I try every year to take a course and get certified in something random. Okay. So, and I've done it every year for, goodness, probably the past 7 or 8 years. I have everything from my yoga teacher certificate to my advanced divers certificate, motorcycle license, gun license, hunting license, negotiation license. Goodness, what else have I taken? I have taken so many random courses in things. Sometimes it's work related, so obviously I have a lot of licenses to do what I do with the bank. Yep. And I'm currently in a course to do that as well. But I try every year to do or learn something new, and I think my next one will be possibly a language.
Ooh, so that's a long-term challenge.
It's a long-term challenge, but again, it starts today. Yep. One of my favorite quotes is, a year from now, you'll have wished you started today. Yep. So, and your episode 1, David Kemp, he's got me pondering Chinese now as a language. So if he's listening, you've got me thinking, my friend.
Now, would you do Mandarin or Cantonese? Like, which one?
I'm leaning towards Mandarin just because it's more applicable to our world here. But so Mandarin, Punjabi are all top contenders right now. Okay. I already speak a little bit of Japanese, and I'm sure I could remember more from my youth. Yeah. So I thought of French as well, but, I think I'm more attracted to the exotic
Yeah.
languages. So,
yeah, very
yeah.
Ooh, interesting. Well, you'll have to keep me posted on what you decide on.
Always adventures.
And if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Absolutely. So you can find me on social media under Christy St Jean on Facebook, or you can email me at christy.stjean@scotiabank.com.
Okay.
Very easy, straightforward.
Perfect. I will put all of those links down below so you guys can connect. And Christy, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Yay.
Thank you.
Side note, this episode is a throwback to January of 2020, and Christy has moved to the Prince George location, but you can still get in touch with her to find out who you should be in contact with as your local Scotia representative. Thank you for tuning in, and please do leave your comments and reviews. If you enjoyed what you heard, subscribe and share. If you know someone in the Okanagan who has an awesome business or project with a great social impact, nominate them through the website at 100awesomepeople.com. And as always, eternal thanks to my witty and talented editor, Lou Ducharme. Until next time, folks, stay awesome.